Hello, this is Amogh Kulkarni. I'm part of the product management team at SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Today, we'll talk about how to get the best of SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Here, we have the agenda in front of us. We'll start with the architecture, and then we'll take a look at the types of users to get the best of both worlds. Then, moving on to the live connectivity, bit of the roadmap, and then we'll dive into the demonstration of the same into the system. First up, the architecture. We talk about the kind of integration that exists between SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. And it is very well evident in this architecture slide that we have. SAP Analytics Cloud sits on top of a stack where SAP Data Warehouse Cloud is serving it with all the different types of services, be it the governance, be it the data modeling or the business modeling, the repository or security. Owing to the best kind of integration that is possible, we make sure that SAP Analytics Cloud gets the best out of these services and integrates in a manner that it can extract the most amount of value from SAP Data Warehouse Cloud models and the data that is served by SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. This is kind of the essence of what we are going to talk today. We have three types of users, and going from bottom to top, we have the data engineer, the power user, and the business user. Let's talk about these different types of users and the overlap that we have. The data engineer, these are the ones that are closest to the data itself. They know the kind of data that is coming in, they know the quality of it, the volume, and they also are well aware of the data sources. These are the kind of users that can make use of a full-fledged ETL and make sure that a pipeline can exist for this data sources as well. With SAP Data Warehouse Cloud, we make sure that we provide these kinds of data engineers with all the different capabilities that they require. With the help of data flow or the data view builder, we make sure that these data engineers have all the different tooling at their hands, be it the graphical view or the scripted view. We'll make sure that they are able to transform the data while making it ready for consumption for the layers above it. Then we have the power user. This is the one that overlaps between SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Let's first look at what power users have on the SAP Data Warehouse Cloud side. These are the users which may not be well versed with the types of data that is coming in or the data sources itself, but they are well aware of the semantics that they need. These are the ones that can create models which are semantically very rich and make sure that they get the most amount of value that comes from the data underneath. For these kind of users, we have the semantic layer in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. They can create semantic layer which is decoupled from the data layer underneath. These kind of users also exist in SAP Analytics Cloud, and they can create models directly in SAP Analytics Cloud, where they can semantically enrich the data that comes in, be it the live connectivity or the remote data that is existing in SAP Analytics Cloud. On top, we have the business user, who are more of a casual user. They want to make sure that they can get ad hoc data and make sure that self-service is enabled. These are the ones that need immediate response to the kind of data that they have, and they require less or no turnaround time when they're setting up the model. This is the kind of users that is well served in SAP Analytics Cloud. Now, when we talk about the integration or the connectivity, we have the story builder, we have the analytics app designer, and we have the SQL interface. These are the different integration points that are currently supported. Be it the story builder, where you can directly use your model from SAP Data Warehouse Cloud in SAP Analytics Cloud. There's no need of remodeling it, and we'll see it live into the system when we move to the demonstration. Then the Data Explorer, the very well-known Data Explorer in SAP Analytics Cloud, can also be used on top of live connection that comes from SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Then we have the Analytics Designer, where you can create applications on analytics side with using the Analytics Designer that is offered by SAP Analytics Cloud. All these different integration points are already set up between SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. And how is that possible? It's possible in two steps. The first one is making sure that your SAP Analytics Cloud tenant is registered as a trusted origin in the SAP Data Warehouse Cloud tenant. Once you do that, all you would have to do is you would have to go into your SAP Analytics Cloud tenant and create a live connection or that directs the connection towards the SAP Data Warehouse Cloud tenant. That's all that you need. Once you do that, you can directly leverage the models from SAP Data Warehouse Cloud within SAP Analytics Cloud without any further remodeling. The current roadmap says that we have already enabled this kind of integration, the connectivity, and making sure that there is no remodeling required already between these two applications. Going ahead, you would see that we would be working on the continuous improvements of the integration. Alongside that, we'll make sure that we are enabling all the different smart features in a phased manner. We want to make sure that we reach a point where the integration between an SAP Analytics Cloud and SAP DWC is at the seamless point. Now, let's go into the system and take a look at the demonstration that we have in front of us.
Now let's look at all the configuration that we have talked about directly into the application. So we are at the home page of SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. We'll navigate to the data builder. This is the place where you would be creating your artifacts that will be later on used for consumption. In my case, what I've done already is that I've created one dataset, that sales dataset. It is taking data from three different CSV files, unioning them and creating a dataset out of it. If we have a look at the data preview here, so it's a simple dataset which is created out of a union. What we have done furthermore is that we have created a couple of dimensions. We have products dimension, we have customer dimension, we have sales region dimension as well, and then we have time dimension. We'll be using all these different dimensions within the associations for analytical dataset. Now, moving on to the analytical dataset itself. What we have done is that we have created a one-to-one mapping of the dataset that we saw beforehand and the analytical dataset, just taking out one column. And then what's important to see here is that we have three measures, the gross, net, and tax amount. We have a few attributes to the analytical dataset as well. Furthermore, all the dimensions that we saw beforehand, we have associated them to this analytical dataset. If you associate them in this way, you would then be able to navigate through the different dimension attributes when you move on to SAP Analytics Cloud. There's no data access control, and the last thing that you need to notice here is that the exposing flag is set to on, which means that we would expect the sales union ADS to be consumed in SAP Analytics Cloud or a third-party BI tool that uses the data consumption privilege through the database users. But let's focus towards SAP Analytics Cloud for now. So we would expect this to be consumed. Secondly, I've created a copy of the first analytical dataset and I've named it as Sales Union ADS not exposed. What this what this means is that I've set the exposing flag to off, and there's just a small demonstration that you can control your exposing of artifacts on an object level. So this object should not be consumed in SAP Analytics Cloud, whereas the other one should be consumed in SAP Analytics Cloud. The rest of the configuration with the measures and the attributes and the associations remains the same. Now let's move on. This is the configuration from Data Warehouse Cloud perspective. Now let's move on to the actual step that you have to do in case of consumption. The first one that we talked about is setting up the trusted origin configuration. For that, we move on to the administration section of SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Here, what you would do is that you would move under app integration, scroll down and make sure that you are setting up the proper origins in here. In here, you would make sure that you put in SAP Analytics Cloud tenant URL, the one that is supposed to consume the this is the one that's supposed to consume the artifacts in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. In my case, I have all origins as allowed, but what you should do is that you should add a trusted origin, put in the URL, and save it. I'm not going to do that now because my configuration says allow all origins, which is good for now. That is what you would have to do on the DWC or a SAP Data Warehouse Cloud tenant. Now the Data Warehouse Cloud part is finished where you set up the artifacts and also set up the configuration. Next thing is that let's say that you are back here in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud and you have already configured your SAP Analytics Cloud through the app switcher. If that is already done, all you would have to do is click on the analytics part and move on to SAP Analytics, which will bring you to the home page of SAP Analytics Cloud. In my case, if you have noticed, I've switched between applications, but it might also be possible that you are trying to consume SAP Data Warehouse Cloud from a standalone SAC or a SAP Analytics Cloud Enterprise tenant. In this case, you would have to follow the rest of the procedure the same way that I have done. The live connectivity that goes between SAP Data Warehouse Cloud and SAP Analytics Cloud is same in both the cases. So all you would have to do is now move on to the connection and create a new connection. From the Connect to Live Data section, you would have to select SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. We can give it a name. In my case, I think this has been already taken. So I will call it my DWC demo. I'll put in the URL. You would have to put in the Data Warehouse Cloud URL and the port as 443. Once you do that, once you click on OK, the authentication method mentioned here, the XAML single sign-on will be used. In here, I have already logged in to Data Warehouse Cloud in another session, but if that's not the case, then you would be asked for logging in. Once you do, you will create a new connection in here and that will be visible, which means that you can use this connection now for any further story building purposes. I'll go to create and I'll click on story. And here comes in the tight integration because I'll select data from data source. SAP Data Warehouse Cloud is now available as a live connectivity option. And I will select the connection that we have created, which in our case is my DWC demo. And click on OK. You'll get to select the space. Make sure that the user that you are trying to connect from SAP Analytics Cloud to SAP Data Warehouse Cloud has the right privileges on SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. So you would have to use an account on Data Warehouse Cloud which has access to the space that you want to consume your data from. In my case, I do. And I'll select the analytical data set. If you see that we only have one analytical data set here, the other one with the suffix not exposed is not visible here, which means that the consumption for that artifact has been blocked from SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. I'll click on OK. And at this point, there's no further remodeling that is required. All you can do is that start selecting a chart, add in a measure, and the visualization starts from the word go. If you see here, I have the dimensions. I can navigate to different dimensions. This is possible because I have associated them to the analytical data set. I will select any one of them. Maybe region will be a good candidate. I'll do so and I'll see that I can start my visualization journey right away. There's no lead time that's required for modeling in SAP Analytics Cloud. Additionally, my analytical dataset is available here for immediate modeling. I can go to the data tab and start the data exploration as well. If I select a product ID, or let alone, I'll just have a sales org. Select the sales org. It will reflect the proper values. For this demonstration, what I've already done is that I have created a story which looks a bit more sophisticated than the one that I was trying to create. I'll go to it, and this is the story that I've created on live data connectivity from SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Any changes that I make to the underlying data set in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud or in the remote sources, if the remote source is used, will be immediately reflected in the SAP Analytics Cloud story. As you can see, you can make use of the wide range of visualizations that are available in SAP Analytics Cloud. Whenever your uh, data changes and if you want to refresh the dashboard, all you would have to do is click on refresh. That's it from the demonstration. Let's move on to the presentation again.
So in the demonstration, we have looked at how we can create an analytical data set, how we can expose it, and remember that exposing an analytical data set is a vital step in making sure that you're consuming the right artifacts. You have to decide on an object level, which one do you want to consume and expose, and which one do you want to stay hidden from the consumption tools, be it SAP Analytics Cloud or a third-party BI tool. Then we looked at setting up the connection with the help of the trusted origin configuration and also the live connectivity. Because of the integration that exists, we made sure that there is no remodeling and you can directly use an analytical data set from a SAP Data Warehouse Cloud tenant while modeling, while creating a dashboard in SAP Analytics Cloud. That sums up the presentation and the demonstration. Make sure that you tune into the related SAP TechEd sessions and make sure that you continue the learning for SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Make use of the community pages or the product pages that we have here, be it the SAP Data Warehouse Cloud community or the SAP community itself. Last but not the least, make sure that you continue your learning experience for SAP TechEd in 2020. For that, you can activate your free Learning Hub account and continue the learning process with the help of all the free courses and material that SAP Learning Hub provides you. Thank you for attending this session, and you can drop in your questions if you have any. Reach out to me. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or any information that you require. Thank you.